Howdy, everybody. Welcome to another edition of the Cowboys of the Osage podcast, brought to you by the Ben Johnson Cowboy Museum, located in historic downtown Pawhuska, Oklahoma. Hey, it's old Cody here. And as always, I got my co-host with me, Mr. Rodeo historian himself, Jimbo Snively. Hey, Jimbo, what's going on and who do we have today?
Hey, Cody boy, it's just another great day in Osage. Cody, we got two real special guests today. We've got Jim and Bobbi Jeen Olson. They're co-owners of the Western Trading Post out in Casa Grande, Arizona. Jim is vice president of the National Bit Spur Saddle and Collectors Association. He's a TV personality, historian, published author, and a PRCA cab roper. And Bobbi Jeen is a professional model, actress, stunt double, and TV host. Pretty impressive. Sound like the Arizona power couple to me.
Wow.
And we're just tickled to have them on today. Jim and Bobbi Jeen, welcome to the Cowboys of the Osage podcast.
Well, we're happy to be here. Thank you for having us.
Yes, we are honored. Thank you, gentlemen.
Yeah, thank y'all so much for coming on. We sure appreciate it. And this is going to be a great episode, Jimbo.
Oh, I think so.
This is going to be a great episode.
They like the same kind of stuff we do.
How did you two meet?
How did we meet? Wow, they just jumped right into it there.
Yeah, we got to get to know you.
So we met at a rodeo. Can you imagine that?
24 years ago.
24 years ago, yeah. Met at a rodeo. I offered her a piece of gum and she never forgot it.
That's crazy. 12 years ago, I met my wife at a rodeo right here in Pawhuska. Never left.
You know, that's a magical place to meet your perfect mate.
Oh, for sure. For sure. We were up here. I had the steer roping cattle up here and some team roping cattle up here. And I was roping too. And roped me up a wife up here, Jimbo.
Sound like it. You married up.
I did, didn't I? I did, about like Jim did.
Yeah, that's for sure. So let me tell you this story real quick. I was in Moriarty, New Mexico for a jackpot calf roping, and I got introduced to Bobbi, and I was getting myself a piece of gum, and I had a habit of tearing off and tearing the gum in half, and I'd only chew a half a piece at a time. That's just how I liked it. I didn't like a full piece of gum in my mouth. So I was tearing off a piece of gum, and she was looking at me, and I offered her a piece of gum. I said, "Do you want a half or a whole?" And she looked at me like I was crazy. Who offers somebody half a piece of gum?
And then you wonder why I remembered him, right?
Right. It's kind of unique.
So a couple months later at Scottsdale Rodeo, she walked up and she said, "Wow, there's that cowboy who offers people half a piece of gum." So she remembered who I was. So at the Scottsdale Rodeo, a couple months later, that was kind of our first date.
Well, how'd you all get interested in Western art and collecting?
You know, we just been around it our whole life.
Right.
We just grew up with it. And then back in 2011, when we got the opportunity to buy this trading post, it seemed like a natural fit. We were already collecting this stuff anyway. So
did I read somewhere that the trading post could be traced back to like 1880 or something there in Arizona?
The sign on the door when we bought it said Fouts Trading Post since 1877.
Wow.
And then once we bought it, it was one of the Fouts family trading posts. And then when we bought it, we changed the name because we didn't want to incorporate with using their family name.
You know, and what a perfect fit for us, because we truly live and love the Western lifestyle. And just to promote it in such a positive manner, like we've been able to, I think it's really been a blessing from God, hasn't it?
Yeah, it was. We're blessed to do what we get to do.
Yeah, and do what you like, and like you say, you're promoting the Western lifestyle and heritage at the same time. That's a dream come true, I would think.
Yeah.
Hey, Jim, when you first started collecting, what was it you started collecting?
Bits and spurs has always been my favorite. And that's probably the first thing that I noticed, because I used to, whenever I was younger, I cowboyed for a living, and I always admired, especially it was mostly the older men who had nice bits and spurs that they were using. And as kids, we're riding the feed store stuff, that we got down at the local tax store that was just basically a bunch of junk. But so I always just wanted to be like those guys someday, and have some nice bits and spurs. So that's kind of where I started.
And he's not also telling you about the cattle and the horses and the cow dogs, so it all kind of fit in together, but he loved all of it.
You got to have all that if you're going to do it right.
Yeah.
When you were younger and you first started collecting bits and spurs, what names or what style did you buy at that time or try to trade for?
Whenever I was younger, I was raised in eastern New Mexico, West Texas area. And so whenever I was younger in Cowboy and in Rodeo, and I collected stuff that I could use mostly. So more Texas style stuff back then. Today, I actually prefer more California, Nevada style stuff for collecting, because to me, it's just more ornate and artistic looking. But if it's something that I wanted to use, then it would be more Texas style.
And that's so easy to do is, when we're younger and we first start collecting, we kind of just purchase stuff that is still usable, but then in the long run, you don't realize that maybe it doesn't hold its value as much as if you purchase something that has a little bit more of a collectability value that will hold its value throughout the years. So I think that's something we've learned throughout the years, huh?
Yeah, for sure.
Bobbi Jeen, what's your favorite collectible?
All of it.
All of it.
I'm very passionate about the jewelry. I love the artwork. In our home, we have baskets and rugs and bronzes. But I really have a passion for the jewelry. I wear a lot of it. As I tell people all the time, I'm just promoting for the trading post.
Right. You gotta
Modeling for the
advertise.
store.
That's the same thing Lauren says.
Right.
That's the same thing my wife says. We got a big old turquoise jewelry store up here too. You guys got to come visit us. We'll
Yeah, we'd like to do that.
out there too.
Where is Casa Grande, Arizona exactly?
It's about halfway between Phoenix and Tucson.
Okay.
It's right where Interstate 8 and Interstate 10 meet.
Okay.
A smaller rural community, and it really still has that small town feel, which is nice.
Oh, that's great. That's the way we are here at Pawhuska. It's just a nice small, but it's big enough, but it's also got that small town feel to it.
Jim, I think that I didn't realize that you're from eastern New Mexico, West Texas area. I think that's Trader Central Station right in that area. I think there's a lot of traders and there's a lot of people that trade in that area. Do you think that being from that area influenced you any?
Absolutely. Ever since I was a little kid, you just go into the bunkhouse or the cowboy shack at any of them outfits. And if they weren't working, those guys were in there trying to trade each other out of somebody's bits or spurs or something, So there's lots of trading goes on in that part of the world.
Yeah, I always feel like a lot of traders have came from that part of the world. My granddad, he was the barn rider over there for the Clovis horse sale for a number of years. His place was right across the street from the sale barn.
Okay, so I worked at the Clovis sale barn whenever I was a kid.
Yeah, well, it's a small world out there. Pete Garnett was my granddad. He would ride several hundred head of horses for the sale barn. Every sale. It was what he did for a living, actually.
I think Bobbi Jeen, I read, was from New Mexico, which is where you're from too.
Yeah, it's a small world out there.
Yeah, I worked at the sale barn in Berlin for about a year for Charlie Myers. So, and I helped pin back the livestock and then also load the trailers. So I think getting to meet all those amazing individuals when we were younger really helped mold us too, huh?
Yeah.
Jim, since you've got a rodeo background, do you collect much of rodeo memorabilia?
I do some, a little bit. I like the early stuff, back from like the Turtles Association and earlier.
Right.
I like, to me, that's kind of the roots of the sport. Right. So I really enjoy it. But we've got to handle some really neat rodeo collectibles, just through our business here.
Sure.
I'll give you a quick example. And this is one thing, you know, it's fun to do what we do and collect what we collect and see the history and stuff. But we also get opportunity to help people by doing this. A good example is several months ago, a lady called me and she said, in 1962, my father was a world champion all-around cowboy and the world champion bulldogger. And I said, what was his name? And she said, Tom Nesmith. And I said, okay. And she said, well, I have his buckles that he won at the NFR that year. And I said, well, what are you wanting to do with those buckles? And she said, well, I need to sell them. And she was having some family problems and whatnot. And but anyways, long story short, she needed some money right then. And so I told her, we'll sell those for you. I said, I'll send you some money now. And then when they sell, I'm going to send you half of whatever they bring above a certain price. And she said, wow, that's great that you would do that for me. So it was really cool for us because here we are getting to handle a world champion's belt buckle for the all around in the bulldogging. But at the same time, you know, his daughter, who really didn't want to sell them items, we were able to help her out financially. And whenever it was all said and done, and I sent her that second check, she wrote me this really, really nice letter. She was so grateful. And she said, wow, I'm just so appreciative of the way that you handled this. And it really helped me through a difficult time.
Well, that's great.
I think that's a cool story.
Yeah. You know, he's from right here in Oklahoma, Tom Neeson.
Yes. Yeah.
And my grandpa knew him well and actually sold him my grandpa's last calf horse. He sold to Tom Neesmith, and he rode him at the 1960 national finals. But and my grandfather helped him get started with his calf roping. He was a good friend.
That's neat.
Yep.
Neat. See there, it's a small world.
Oh, it is.
Yeah,
It is.
his grandpa Jim and Bobby, his grandpa's Jim Snively. They inducted into the Cowboy Hall of Fame last fall in the it's timed event category in the rodeo room. Heck, I don't know all the particulars on it, Jimbo, but
Well, yeah.
But he does. It was a great time and an awesome.
Yeah, we were all down there, and he went in with people like Tuff Hedeman and Cody Lambert and guys like that.
Yeah.
The only bad thing, I had to get him to give a speech, and that wasn't very easy. But,
He did a great job.
but it was a great time. But we just love of course, we're partial to the rodeo stuff here. But I was just curious how much rodeo memorabilia you get in there. Are any of the old trophy saddles? Of course, I'm sure it depends on who it is, but are they very collectible from some of the old timers?
They sure are. And you know what? As a matter of fact, we're in my office upstairs in the trading post, and about 30 feet to my right is the very first all-around champion saddle ever given out. Is in 1929. A man named Earl Thode won it. And it was the very first time in all of rodeo history that they recognized a world all-around champion at Madison Square Garden. And he actually wound up living here in Casa Grande later in life, and he still has relatives here. And it was a long story, but we wound up with his saddle that he won, and it says 1929 world champion all around Madison Square Garden on it.
Wow.
So we're pretty. It's one that's not for sale.
Yeah, I was going to say.
I was going to ask you if
keeping
it was for sale.
Yeah.
We got the 1959 Madison Square Garden all around saddle in there. Jim Shoulders is.
Yeah.
It's up there in the lobby.
Wow.
That's
Yeah,
neat.
it's really neat. It's really neat. And the Shoulders family, we got a whole bunch of Jim stuff that's fixing to go on display in here. Yeah,
Oh,
when
that's
we're done
cool.
here,
That's cool.
I'll take you guys and show you our saddle tree and stuff over here. You'll love it.
I got to tell you a quick story about Jim Shoulders.
Let's hear it.
When I was a rookie, and it would have been like 1996, and I was entered in Window Rock, Arizona, where they have that 4th of July rodeo. And I went in there and I roped. And afterward, they told me, they said, you can go there at the hospitality tent, and all the contestants can get some free food and Cokes and whatnot. So I was over there getting something to eat. And they announced Jim Shoulders was signing autographs. And he was sitting at a table there, and I walked by, and he said, young man, sit down right here. And he introduced himself, and of course I knew who he was. And he said, sit here and sign autographs with me. And I said, sir, they don't want my autograph. I'm just a permit holder here. I'm a rookie. And he said, son, you see all them little Indian kids out there? He said, they don't know whether you're the world champion or the first time here. He said, to all them little kids out there in that line, you're a hero because you roped in that rodeo tonight. He says, sit down here and we'll visit and sign some autographs. So I sat there for over an hour signing autographs next to him. And it was definitely a real heartwarming experience for me.
Wow.
Yeah, it's always good because, you know, it's always good to give some time back to the kids like that. For sure.
Yeah.
Hats off to y'all for doing it.
You bet.
Jim was a good guy, though. I always hear a lot of funny stories of Jim's shoulders. He didn't have his big Bramer bull out there, did he? Letting people ride him around.
I know of, no.
What was that bull's name, Jimbo?
Buford T. Light.
See, can't get any rodeo memorabilia past Jimbo over here.
He used him after he retired. He'd take him around as promotional. And Marvin told us, we did a podcast with him a while back, and Jim would take that bull to the bars and everything else, just promoting the rodeo that was coming to town. And Marvin said, we'd haul two big truck trailers full of rodeo stock to the rodeo, but he'd make more money with that Buford T. Light than we did with all that rodeo stock, you know, just taking him around and showing him. So.
What's the weirdest thing you ever traded for, Jim? In all your years?
Wow. Weirdest thing. Well,
yeah. You've done a lot of trading back and forth. I'm sure you've had to take something in or you were intrigued by something.
We've had some weird things that have came in that you're like, Jim, really?
what would that be?
Remember those funky little bird things that Rowdy got?
Yeah.
I don't know what they're like, creepy.
Thought you maybe
like
had some glass eyeballs or something roll through there. I'm not sure.
And of course,
like a turquoise eyeball. I thought maybe some weird thing like that came through there. I don't know.
Like the headhunters or something.
Yeah.
We have had shrunken heads before, but they were fake. We actually bought a museum contents one time. And this guy, he had a lot of weird stuff in there.
Yeah.
A lot of artifacts and whatnot, but that was interesting to go through the contents of that place.
Well, and that wasn't, not all of the time is it glamorous either, because with the contents of this museum, it had actually sat for 9 years or so.
Yeah.
And when you're going through it, I mean, you had to wear a mask and gloves and like dump out rat turds and kind of dig through everything because there were some amazing treasures. But it was not glamorous finding the treasures that were actually in there. But we ended up getting all cleaned out, huh?
Yeah, we hauled 7 truck and trailer loads out of that place. And the deal was we won a bid. It was they called several dealers in and we all put in a bid. And the deal was when you left there, you had to take everything, good, bad, and ugly, and it had to be broom cleaned whenever you left the building. Took us 7 loads and we cleaned it all out.
And there was just 3 of us, Jim, myself, and our son, Rowdy.
Yeah.
So it was a lot of work.
There was some odd stuff in there, like, skeletons and snake vertebrae and, just stuff like that. He picked up everything.
Yeah.
Are you guys just still doing the TV show?
We are, when COVID hit, we kind of we had to quit filming and we kind of lost our spot there with Cowboy Channel.
Right.
But it's still on Great American Westerns and we're still filming at a much more relaxed pace now. There for a while, we had to have them out, every few weeks we had to have one to meet their schedule. And that was pretty hectic. And so now we're putting out one about once a month or every 6 weeks. And in Great American Westerns, we just kind of put it on, whenever.
And our YouTube, we have tons of content on the YouTube page as well.
we have our own YouTube channel that they go on as well.
How much did that change your business when you got on TV with your Western Trading Post and your auction business and your retail business?
It was amazing, the people that came from all over the country to visit with us and to tell us, thank you guys for putting this out there, because just because maybe I rodeoed or showed horses, throughout my life. These are things that we collect, and it's always fun hearing about the prices of the items or what items are coming in, what's popular at one time compared to another time. So I think besides it boosting our business, the connections that we got to make with so many amazing people was incredible.
Yeah, we had people from all over the country that we came into contact with as a direct result of the show.
Yeah, we had a TV right here in Pawhuska. We had a similar effect, but it affected the whole community. We had a TV personality open a restaurant and like a mercantile here in town, Reed Drummond, the pioneer woman, which effectively let us open the Ben Johnson Cowboy Museum and let everybody's businesses in the whole town flourish. So including
that's
our own,
neat.
you know. So we feel a lot. We see where you're coming from. Definitely how it helped your business, because we see just the ripple effect that happens to everybody else around here just because of you know. So we can only imagine how it helped your business right there. So that's awesome. That's awesome to hear.
Have you always had the auction since you opened, or is that something that's just come on lately? Or
You know, we started doing auctions in 2014. So this last February was our 8th year of having auctions. And when we started out, we had 175 items in a little room back here in the store with no internet or anything. And our gross auction take was $12,000. And I thought, wow, this is great. We did $12,000 today worth of sales. And now in just the other day, we actually set a world record for the highest squash blossom ever sold at a live auction. And that necklace sold for $112,000.
wow.
What's
so special, Jim?
The turquoise in it. It had lander blue turquoise that had been verified as being authentic. So it had the rarest turquoise in the world in it.
Yeah.
Wow.
It was exquisite. And I have to brag on Jim a little because we had, I love you and I want to. When we first started out, we had an auctioneer and everything was going smooth. And our auctioneer passed away. And so Jim tried to get a couple other auctioneers to come in. One came in once, and then he couldn't find auctioneers. So he stepped up to the plate and has evolved. I'm going to get teary-eyed because I'm so proud of you. He's evolved into one of the most amazing, and I am partial, auctioneers. I mean, he's so interactive with the audience and everyone else, but not only has he become an incredible auctioneer, but he has actually brought our son into it as well. And now both of them have went through auctioneering school and are licensed auctioneers. And when you're trying to combine a family business, Jim always leads by example. And I think it shows by how his family supports him.
That's great.
I like hearing about a good family business like that,
yes,
Jimbo.
Yes,
There ain't nothing better than that.
it sure not.
That's right.
Roping. What about roping at Cheyenne? I saw a picture of you here on your Facebook a while back, roping at Cheyenne. Is that one of the highlights of your career?
It sure was. You know, as a PRCA calf roper, I always tell people I was just good enough to be there, but not good enough to really win much. That's kind of was the level I was at. But I got qualified to go to Cheyenne 2 different times. And I never forget the riding into that big arena. And I was low man on the totem pole, so I got drew up first and last during the performance. And but one thing about it is roping during the performance like that. It was a Saturday is when I got to rope. So I was there when the biggest crowds were there. And it was actually, I guess, as close as I could ever imagine to being what a rock star must feel like whenever you rope a calf and tie one down in a decent time and 20,000 people are standing on their feet cheering for you.
Yeah, it's a cool place.
Yeah.
It's a cool place.
I got to see your dad rope there.
Oh yeah, Jimbo's grandpa's won it. My dad's won it. Did your uncle win it, Jimbo?
No, he won second twice.
Won second twice. Yes. Yeah, Cheyenne's been a great place for us. It's been a great place for this area of Pawhuska. We have in Osage County where we're at, we may have more Cheyenne championships concentrated in one area than anybody. So
At least 7 people from this area have won the steer open at Cheyenne.
That's cool.
That is
I know
awesome.
it's 7 I can name right off the top of my head.
and we're not including Bob Wegner in that.
Right,
bull
Bob,
riding.
or John Bowman, or you know.
John Bowman. So we got a lot of rough stock riders. I think Lewis Brooks has won it.
yeah.
So yeah, we got Cheyenne's a special place for all the Cowboys up here too, for sure. No doubt about it.
Yeah,
Go ahead.
there's nothing like riding into that arena and just seeing the enormity of it. I was, of course, I was young and it was pretty overwhelming.
It's just so different, you know, with the score and the cattle walking out the line and everything. It's just something you don't see other places, you know.
Yeah, I mean, you always look forward to Cheyenne every year. Plus, you
Right.
get to see everybody that you haven't seen in a while, and it's just a great place. It's just a great place if you're a cowboy. That's for sure.
Yeah, that's for sure.
It's not too bad after the rodeo either. I've had me a little bit of fun there, Jimbo.
Yeah, I bet you have.
Let's not talk about that anymore. Thank
Yeah,
God.
we don't talk about that
Don't
part.
we say hear, see, speak no evil, right?
Right.
Oh yeah.
Bobbi Jeen, what about your career? I've heard you've done some acting and some movies and different things.
So very passionate about the Western lifestyle.
Sure.
I worked on a handful of Western films. Because I could ride so well, I've doubled several principal actresses in
Sure.
different films doing their riding stuff. And it's been really cool. I just love being involved in Western projects. I don't have an agent, so that way I can pick and choose the projects that I want to work on. And I think it just kind of works hand in hand with everything that we do. I'm a U.S. ambassador for the American Cowboy for International. Vicki Christensen is part of it. And so we try to promote the Western lifestyle through that facet as well. And I don't know, I think I do have a funny story real quick. So I did an event last weekend, 2 weekends ago, called Dances for Our Stars. And so it was a dance competition. And I was thinking about it and I thought, wow, I can remember like 3 very memorable dances. My first one was I was on set on the High-Low Country dancing with Woody Harrelson. Sam Elliott is there, Penelope Cruz. I mean, Max Evans was there. 100 people are there, and I'm dancing with Woody Harrelson, who is wild as a son of a gun in real life as well. Then I had our wedding dance, which was
not near as memorable.
It wasn't near as wild, but it was still even more memorable. And then I had the event Dances for Our Stars, which I worked really hard at this event. And I thought, wow, even if I only have 3 dances all of my life, they're pretty magical. So that was a fun event.
Those are your 3 favorite dances.
Those are my three favorite dances.
That Woody Harrelson can probably dance like a son of a gun.
He probably can. He's one of my favorites.
How can you not like that guy?
You just got to.
Who is that?
Woody.
Yeah.
Harrelson.
You know what? And I wasn't sure how we were going to dance. We started dancing normal. And then he picks me up, throws me over his shoulder, and is whacking me and hollering and hooping. And I'm like, whoa, talk about a few spins, and then sets me down. I'm like, I'm supposed to stand up after this? And it took a whole day to film this scene. So it wasn't, but anyways, that's movie magic for you. So it took all day to film the scene, but it shows for 10 seconds, probably.
That's why it takes so long to make a movie, isn't it?
Yes,
Yeah.
for sure.
That's no kidding. They just got done building, not building the movie. They've been shooting a movie here, and they're back shooting the movie again. They shot one here, Bobby, for 7 months last year.
That's
Martin
what Jim
Scorsese's
was
film.
telling me. They like
Yeah.
tore up the whole town and everything.
Well, they didn't tear it up. They made it back to 1920s town where they put back to dirt streets, and right across the street from the museum was the wagon yard where they kept the wagons for the movie the whole time. I mean, it was just it was unbelievable. It's going to be a big production.
They needed a train depot, and they actually redid the depot, or maybe built one, but they actually brought in rail cars and laid track.
Brought in real trains for
Brought in real train cars and laid track for the.
Did they leave it there when they left?
Do what?
Did they leave it there?
No, they took it all back down, most of it.
Yeah.
There's a little bit downtown left of it, but enough to show around they were here. But,
Right.
Yeah, everybody will know when that movie comes out. It's going to be a big one, I think.
Well, and then we, sometimes we see these $100 million budgets, $300 million budgets, and then we understand why, with all the work that goes into making it look authentic.
Right.
Yeah, they had over 1,000 people in town every day for it. So it was a pretty big deal. Pretty big deal. Who else was in that deal, Jimbo?
Oh, Leonardo.
Leonardo's in it.
And
Oh, wow.
Robert De Niro.
Jesse Plemons.
Yeah,
Jesse Plemons is in it.
Yeah.
It's going to be a big one. It's going to be a big one. Lily, look
We're
out.
going to have to watch it.
Lily,
yeah,
look out. They say it's going to be the first Native American to walk across the stage winning an Oscar from this movie. So
That'll be
got our
cool.
fingers hoped.
Yep.
We got our fingers crossed around here. What about movie star memorabilia? Do you ever run across much of it?
Oh yeah. We've had some neat pieces. We sold Glenn Campbell's nudie suit, 2 of those. Haas from
Bonanza.
Yeah.
From Bonanza. We had a hat that belonged to him, and when you put it on, it'd come down around on your head like that.
It was
It was
huge.
It was a size 8 or 8.5.
I saw that on one of your shows. I saw when Bobby put it on her head. It just,
Yeah.
I saw that. That was funny.
What was his name, Jimbo? Dan
Blocker.
Dan Blocker.
Dan Blocker.
Yeah.
Yeah. Dan Blocker.
If you need any Western heritage, if you need to know anything, Jimbo, he's a wealth of knowledge on that Western heritage pop culture.
That's cool.
You know what was funny about Dan Blocker? They made him out kind of a little slow on the show, and they made fun of him, picked on him. And he was actually the best educated one on the whole show. He had a master's. He was an ex-school teacher, and everything. So I always thought that was ironic. He was the one that they made look slow on the show. But
He could sing good too.
yeah, he could sing.
He could sing.
Yeah. One thing that you sold that kind of caught my eye, you sold some chaps that Shania Twain wore on the album cover and on the video, Any Man of Mine. And I remember that video.
Yeah.
Oh, who doesn't remember that video? Huh?
That's the
right.
most popular album she ever had put out. And she wore the chaps on the cover and the back cover and the picture, and then also in that video.
Right.
And the people who supplied those, the horses and everything for them that day, are friends of ours. And when they got ready to sell them, they sent them to us and let us sell them.
Do you remember what they brought?
I think we got around $4,000 for those, if I remember right. A little less than you would have thought, but
Yeah, I might have gave that for
If Jimbo would have known, he'd be wearing them things around. He loves Shania
him.
Twain.
Man, I saw her at performance.
they weren't signed by her or anything,
Yeah. I saw her at Caesars in Las Vegas, and she put on a pretty good show.
National Bit and Spur Association. Let's move on to that.
All right.
Tell us all a little bit about it, would you?
So I'm real excited about the National Bit, Spur, and Saddle Collectors Association. As of this January, I'm now the association's vice president. I'm happy to be involved, and I think we got a really good group of board members right now who are real excited about trying to get more people involved in the association. So. Because what happens so often, and it's happened in the antique world, and it's happening a little bit in our world too, is the people who care about that stuff and who really like it are getting older and dying off, and they're wanting to sell, and there's not a younger generation of as many people that are wanting to pick it up and be interested in it. So what we're real passionate about, Bobby and I especially, is trying to get the next generation involved, people our age and younger. Because like when we go to a lot of these trade shows, we're the kids.
Yeah, they call us the
Yeah,
kids, and we're like
the youngest people there. And so, you know, we want to help get the next generation or 2 or 3 involved. And so I'm excited to be in a position to maybe help perpetuate some of that.
You know, and it takes all of us working together. We all have to work together, and we have to educate individuals. We have to get them to fall in love with it, just like we are in love with it. If we don't, all of the history, all of the value, it's just going to disappear.
Mm-hmm.
Wow. What about Oscar Crockett? Since you're on the vice president of the association, what do you know about that guy?
You know, Crockett Spurs are really highly collectible. I know he started out right there in Pawhuska, if I remember right, or at least had a blacksmith shop there for a while.
Possibly one of his first one, possibly second. We don't know. But yeah, exactly. One of his first shops was right here in Pawhuska, right across the street from the museum here.
Yeah, and he was a guy who kind of took bits and spurs to another level. You know, when he first started out, he was hand forging everything himself. And by the end of his career, he had a crew of people and had a lot of it, you know, kind of not really machine made, but assembly line assembled, you know, so he could serve a wider base of customers instead of just hammering out one piece at a time. So he kind of was one of the first ones to really start, you know, not mass producing, but producing quality in mass.
Yeah, it seems like he put out catalogs with his steel stuff, and then I think it slowly progressed maybe into some chrome plated stuff, and then some aircraft material. I think that's aluminum basically, but I think they was calling it aircraft material possibly.
Yeah, so especially in the 40s, you know, when World War II was going on, there was a real shortage of a lot of things such as metal and copper and stuff for the war effort. And so a lot of people started using alternative things. And you know, it kind of, I think too, one of the things that I've read that happened about then is that kind of stainless steel or chrome blingy look was in vogue, and a lot of people liked it. So a lot of them bit and spur makers were making stuff real shiny at that point.
It sounds crazy. You know, I see that stuff at horse sales, you know, bring $1 a piece, but now I've even seen the chrome stuff, the cheapest ones, you know, like the grazing bits that were marked Crockett, they're bringing, you know, $50. I see some places. I mean, that's a good sign that there's a lot of entry level collectors out there to me. I'm not sure. What about you, Jim?
Yeah, I think so. You know, I think there's getting to be more and more. So God bless them.
Yeah, we want all the collectors.
What would you start collecting at an entry level for someone that don't have a whole lot of money, that something you think's going to become worth more money? Because I honestly didn't think that the cheap Crockett stuff would ever be worth more than, you know, $5 a piece in my mind a while back, Jimbo. But it is bringing, I see 25, 50, even $75 for some of it sometimes. It just goes to show you. But what would you look at if you were just an entry level collector right now in collecting?
You know, I've actually written extensively about this in our blog articles and stuff. And my best advice for entry level collectors is to find what you like. You know, like with me, it was bits and spurs. But find something that you're interested in, whether that's artwork or bridles or whatever, and study it. Before you ever spend $1 on a piece, you know, before you go buy a cheap Crockett bit for $25, an aluminum bit for $25, you should buy a book about bits for $25 and read it and educate yourself. So get yourself educated, read books, talk to all of the dealers and collectors that you can, and educate yourself. And then when you're ready to start buying something, buy the very best piece that you can. If you have $100 to spend, go buy one $100 piece. Don't buy 5 $20 pieces. Always buy the best that you can. And then as you accumulate more money, you trade up and trade up and trade up. And you're much, much better off in the long run from an investment standpoint or even a collectability standpoint. you're better off in the long run to have one, maybe $10,000 piece as you've built up over the years than you are to have, 50, $150 pieces or something like that. So that's my advice to collectors.
That's good advice.
Especially the way I collect around here, Jimbo. That I need to listen to that because I run out of room real easy.
I know.
I run out
Well,
of room real easy on
collectors
my phone.
typically go through this phase where when they first start out, they accumulate quantity. And
I haven't grown
typically
out of
over
that
time, over time, it tends to turn into quality. But I would say you're better off to start with quality early and learn what quality truly is.
Yeah, talk to as many experts as you can, because you truly want to be educated in whatever it is that you're collecting.
Yeah,
That's a good question because everybody seems to be an expert. Who should you listen to? Because every expert that I know, none of them agree on anything.
that's true. I use that saying all the time. If you ask 10 experts for an opinion, you'll get 10 different opinions. I agree with that. Yeah, so who should you listen to? I think you want to look at the ones that are the most respected within the industry, the ones who maybe have actually made a living at it, things like that.
Who collect it themselves,
Mm-hmm.
Who are very passionate about it and collect it themselves. If they're just selling it and aren't collecting it or aren't as educated on it, then are you really getting the best bang for your buck?
It's just like, rodeo or anything else. The cream rises to the top after you've been around it for a little while.
I've always had to learn from my mistakes, Jimbo.
Oh, me too.
Well, I think we all have.
Yeah. That's how I got most of the
experiences.
They call that stupid tax.
Yep. Everything I think's a sure thing. Boy, howdy, it burns me, and everything I'm not real sure about. Gosh dang, who knows?
Right.
So
I've paid a lot of stupid tax in my life.
Yeah.
I still do every day sometimes, Jimbo.
That's how I learned too. The lessons I remember the most are the ones that cost me money.
Yeah. In fact, I don't even get mad at them anymore. I just try to learn from them and go on about my day, So
yeah,
I always try to take a lesson from every bad choice I make.
Yeah.
In business for sure. And in life.
That's great advice.
Jim, does the economy affect the collectible business a lot? I mean, like right now we have runaway inflation. Have you seen a difference? Is that taking a toll on the people, or is it they're still just buying?
Well, in general, the economy does seem to affect the collectible business. Like back in 06, 7, 8, right in there, man, everything was just crazy. And then whenever the 08 crash happened, you couldn't hardly give stuff away for a while. So typically the economy does affect it. And what right now is, I think I've been telling people, it's unprecedented times. We have runaway inflation. We don't, it's just crazy what's going on with the economy, but yet we haven't noticed any slowdown. People are still spending money.
And it seems the good stuff is still selling for a good price.
Yeah.
I mean, there's always people out there that have money. And if the real good stuff comes about, they're going to get that money so that they can have it. I think that's something.
And that's why, back to what we were talking about a minute ago, whenever I say always buy the best you can, because when the times are bad and it's hard to give away some of that middle end and lower end stuff, the good stuff always has a market, because people with millions of dollars in their bank account, a little bit of inflation isn't going to hurt them. If it costs, the other day I spent $150 to fill my truck with gas. And, a lot of people right now, have to make a choice. Do I want to go buy a little pair of Spurs, or do I want to fill my truck with gas for $150? But people who are buying $20,000 pair of Spurs, that $150 tank of gas doesn't bother them a bit.
Right.
Yeah, I did see that diesel's creeping up there closer to $6 every second.
I'm glad I don't have a diesel.
I'm glad got away from the diesel too here. Got off the rodeo road, got away from my diesel.
Yeah,
Couldn't have picked a better time to do it.
Yeah.
Couldn't have picked a better time to do it. I always think going back to who you should listen to, I think a good idea for a guy to do, even anybody, is go to those trade shows like at Amarillo or
Mhm.
Abilene, maybe, or wherever they may be, or LaBelle's trade show or whoever, and just hang out and listen to what's going on and watch what's going on and chit chat a little bit with some of the best respected guys in the business, kind of like what you're saying.
Absolutely.
'Cause,
Yeah.
that's the only places they're all gathered all at once.
Yeah.
Yeah. And you'll find the best ones there, and then you'll find some that aren't so good there. And you'll pretty soon you'll figure out who's who.
Yeah, you'll figure it out for yourself right then and there. Normally,
Yeah.
if you go more than once, for sure you will.
Yeah.
For sure you will. We our resident guy here, I think y'all know him, Charlie Kupke. He's our resident expert on all our bits and spurs and saddles and buckles around here. That he's our go-to guy.
Oh yeah, Charlie's a great guy. He's on the board of
He's a
the
board
member with
yeah.
us. Yeah.
Small world. He's a board member of the Ben Johnson Museum and our Ben Johnson Days. He's over our John Israel Cowboy Trade Show right here that we have in June in Pahusky.
Yeah. Charlie's a good guy.
He's been putting some YouTube videos together, little educational ones, and they've been putting them on the National Bit, Spur, and Saddle Collectors Association's YouTube. So
I'll check those out.
Yeah, I mean, definitely they've been trying to get more information on the YouTube, on their Facebook. So there's really neat informative videos that are going up on their YouTube too.
I think I saw one of those the other day.
I think the more that you guys can get up on that YouTube, it'll just last forever. And anybody interested in some of these makers and some of the, particular like a spade bit, I don't even know. You could do a million different things on a million different makers and a million different products with saddles, bits, and spurs. That it would be a real wealth of knowledge for people, that could always access it. And I think what you guys are doing is great with that.
Yeah, a couple months ago, we started our first YouTube page for the association. So
Jim,
we're trying to get content.
well, Jim put up a great one on E. Garcia, right?
Just Garcia in general, all the Garcias.
All the Garcias.
How to tell the
It's a very
difference.
confusing thing. So it's I'm glad to see something out there about it. I'm going to watch it. I'm going to go
It's
on there and watch
very,
that
very
one for sure.
informative.
Yeah. A lot of people think they have a pair of Garcia spurs. Well, they must be valuable, but not all Garcias are the same. So you want to find out more, watch the video, YouTube.
I think that'll be good.
Do you all see it with the Yellowstone TV show and it just seemed like a resurgence on people interested in the Western way of life to me. Do you all see that?
Yes, I think so. What was the movie in the 80s that did that same thing with John Travolta?
Urban Cowboy.
Urban Cowboy had the same effect
Yeah.
that Yellowstone's having right now. Where all of a sudden it hit a national spotlight and everyone's interested, and so that's good. I'm all for stuff like that.
Yeah, I think you see it in the whole industry, from the bits, the spurs, the saddles, the jewelry, the clothing, the movies. You're seeing more and more Westerns being made, where there for a while it was like, oh, you can't make a Western because you don't make money and all of that. But they're bringing it all back. And I think it's a positive message that they're bringing back too, because what's the most important for most of us? It's our family, it's our country, it's God. And I think it's all intertwining again, which is what we need.
Great. That is great news.
How often do y'all have auctions?
Once a month.
Are they on a set day once a month or?
Typically the
like
second
first,
Saturday.
Whatever.
Yeah, typically their second Saturday of the month.
Second Saturday of the month.
Yeah.
If you're interested, be checking that out.
We'll run 400 to 500 lots every month.
Well, and the fun thing is we actually have a free app for your smartphones. If you go to Western Trading Post Auctions, download the free app. You can see what auction we have available right then, but you can also go back and look at past auctions and really get a estimated true value of an item that has already sold. So if you're looking at different bits or spurs and we've had them in a past auction, you can kind of get a true market value for what something like that has sold for. So I think a lot of people have been really enjoying our app.
Yeah, I tell people all the time that if you really want to find out what something's worth, just put it in a well-publicized auction where you have several people that are interested, and you'll find out in a hurry what it's truly worth.
All you really need is two people really interested in it.
That's all you need. All you need is two.
There really isn't nothing better than the auction life and the auction way to do anything. It is changing a lot. It is changing drastically and drastically fast, where even live auctions are going away, it seems like, but we still really enjoy one, don't we, Jimbo?
You bet. Absolutely.
Well, Jimbo, you got anything else for him?
Well, we just really appreciate them coming on with us today. And we love what you're doing, and just keep it up. Keep promoting that Western lifestyle and collecting that memorabilia. And it's just great. And we really appreciate it, because that's what we're all about here at the Ben Johnson Cowboy Museum. And you need to come see us sometime when you're back up this way.
We'd love to do that. And likewise, I mean, what you guys are doing there in Oklahoma is, we have nothing but respect and admiration for what you're doing there.
And we are so grateful for you guys bringing us on your show, because like we say all the time, we've got to work together to keep the Western lifestyle alive. So
that's right. Do you guys got anything else that you want to plug to anyone that you got coming up?
I don't think so. No, we're not going to do any self-serving cheap promotion at this
Second
point.
Saturday every month, though. Check out that Western Trading Post live auction. It's going to be a good one. All right, everybody. We'll see you next week right here. Cowboys of the Osage podcast. Same time, same place. See y'all.